This is way better than we thought, as we have multiple new Toronto Blue Jays updates to go over today. And following what has been a fantastic start to the season, we have some updates that are a lot better than fans initially thought. We're going to break those down and discuss what it means going forward ahead of Game 2 of the Seattle Mariners series this afternoon. But before we get into it, folks, if you're part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Your guys' support has been unbelievable. If you want to help us towards our goal of 17K, make sure to smash that subscribe button. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an unbelievable start to the season. You cannot put it lightly. And we also have some other comments from some players revealing some more interesting things about this team. Let's dive right into it. What a fantastic start to the season this has been for the team. You saw a little bit of tidbit there on Max Scherzer. We'll dive into him later, but we also have updates on Dalton Varsho, Eric Swanson, all these different guys, so a ton to stay tuned for. But let's start with John Schneider. Following yesterday's game, which was a sold-out crowd Friday night, and we all know, if you've been a Jays fan for a while, this, and if you haven't been, if you're new to the Jays, this home crowd when the team is winning is the best in baseball. It's absolutely electric. You see yesterday, awesome crowd. We should give away bomber jackets every night. That was fun. Of course, yesterday, the first 15,000 fans who came to the arena in the Apple TV game, they got it was an Apple TV game, but in the Apple TV game, they got, of course, bomber jackets. And again, I saw a lot of your guys' comments yesterday. A lot of you guys couldn't watch the game because it was an Apple TV game. Ultimately, the Jays got the job done in that. But it was extremely hyped up because of the crowd. The crowd was in it. The Jays, of course, are on a win streak. Everything is good. And it seems like, I've been saying this a lot on this channel, the team feels absolutely different. And let's look through 20 games historically, how the Jays are shaping up this year. They're 12-8, of course, this season. And you look back to some of their, great years. I mean, 1992, they were 15-5, 1985, and 2022, 13-7. Of course, 2022 was an interesting year, but even 2023, 12-8, those are all years they made the playoffs. They are off to such a hot start, and the team feels different. The energy feels different. The camaraderie feels different. I've been talking about it so much on the channel. Bowden Francis came out and said the boys are juiced. We're super connected from the coaching staff and everyone down. It's a different feel. And ultimately, it feels like, a different team watching them. And it's not just the results. Obviously, the Jays, they're playing really good baseball. They're 12-8. They're 4 games above 500 and the toughest schedule of the month, all those different things. But the way that you watch this team, they're all playing together. The bullpen is elite. The starting pitching is elite. And the bats haven't even came to life yet. And this is a team now, without the bats coming to life, that are 12-8 against some of the toughest opponents. And of course, you still have the rest of the month to get through. I'm not going to sit here and say that the rest of the month is easy. But if you win today, you win another series. The vibes are at an all-time high for the boys, an all-time high for the crowd. And hopefully things continue to go that way as they start to get some reinforcements. And let's dive into some of those reinforcements that I'm talking about. And I'll start with Max Scherzer. He got his second cortisone shot, this time in a different area of his thumb. John Schneider says he'll rejoin the team on the road, and they hope he'll start to throw again from there. From there, we'll see. So, obviously, with Max Scherzer, we're talking about a guy who pitched 3 innings for the Jays. I was actually at that game, the only start. I was in Toronto for that, or I was in the Rogers Center for that, sorry. And obviously, it was a weird start. He looked, gave up 2 home runs in the first inning. But since then, of course, Easton Lucas has come along. And the biggest question mark going forward is going to be how Easton Lucas and who they're going to use in that number 3, which is now turned into the number 5 starter spot. And it seems that Max Scherzer is making progress. And again, this is a pretty good sign. I think that he's starting to throw soon. That's obviously something that is, he needs to do that in order to pitch, obviously. But I think for Max Scherzer, just getting back on the mound, this is something, he's 40 years old, turning 41 soon. He needs to be a guy that, he needs to be fully healthy in order, and he's never going to be 100% healthy, but fully healthy in the sense of this doesn't want to be something the Jays keep throwing him out there. He gets injured. He's off for a few weeks, comes back. Make sure he's good. And that's something Max Scherzer said following his first and only start as a Toronto Blue Jay. It was, hey, this is going to be something that is I'm going to have to deal with the rest of my career, but it's about how we manage it from there. And it seems like they're making progress. This is, of course, the second cortisone shot, and also, I believe, the second or third different doctor that he's visited. As Keegan Matheson came out and said he's going to a different doctor, which I'm assuming was this guy, so the second doctor. It's going to be interesting surrounding Max Scherzer because the Jays, I think, ceiling is a lot higher if he's here, simply because the 3 starter spot, the 5th starter spot, whatever you want to call it, is a bit up in the air at this juncture. But on the flip side, Easton Lucas has done very well. Besides that one start against the Braves, he's going to get another chance here very soon. And hopefully, if he can play, well and pitch really well, I mean, it won't be a question mark. Of course, if he continues to struggle like he did in the last start, then things become a little bit more murky. Alek Manoah looks in the best shape of his life. He's going to be returning in August. You have a bunch of different guys. Jake Bloss is struggling mightily down there in AAA. Maybe Ross Atkins, and does Ross Atkins start to explore the trademark a little bit? Those are all questions that are going to be directly tied to Max Scherzer, but the good news is he's going to be starting to throw again soon, and hopefully with that throwing, he'll be able to pitch some games. But speaking of throwing, we have some good news in the bullpen as Erik Swanson will throw a sim game tomorrow and then more than likely move into a rehab assignment. Let's loosely call that a couple weeks away if all goes well. A healthy Swanson will be a major addition to this bullpen. Ladies and gentlemen, this bullpen has been fantastic, and it is one of the key reasons. Now, Jeff Hoffman, it feels like for the first time since 2019 with Roberto Osuna that this team feels like they have a closer that you can fully trust. Now, of course, that is no disrespect to Jordan Romano, but let me know down below if you agree or disagree with this take here. Romano, even though he would get the results most of the time, he would always put runners on base, and I was always on the edge of my seat. Hey, if it's a, whether it's a 0-0 game heading into extra innings, I was always like worried that the runner was going to score. I was worried he was going to give up a run. And no matter how, it felt like there was rarely a clean inning. And of course, that wasn't the case. There was a lot of times, there was always clean innings with Jordan Romano, but there's also the flip side of he was a little bit sporadic and his stuff didn't quite play. I mean, sometimes he'd be hitting 100, sometimes he'd be hitting 96, 94. With Jeff Hoffman, he is elite. He is an elite reliever in this league. He is a tier above Jordan Romano. I said that right after they waived Jordan Romano. I said that at the time of getting Jeff Hoffman. I think it was a fantastic addition by Ross Atkins. There's no doubt about it. And of course, that's been one of the reasons. You get Erik Swanson back now, you're in perfect shape. That is another guy. And you saw yesterday they rocked Mason Flaherty into Chad Green, into Jimmy Garcia, into, of course, Jeff Hoffman. If you had Erik Swanson there, you can go Chad Green, Erik Swanson, Jimmy Garcia, Jeff Hoffman. Swanson can kind of be the guy against the lefty. You have Brendan Little in there. That bullpen is elite. And coming off of the worst bullpen in the league last year, it is a wonderful, wonderful addition. And again, he's going to be throwing a sim game on Saturday. If all goes well, it can begin a rehab assignment. He will likely pitch at least 4 or 5 outings. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. But ladies and gentlemen, save the best for last year. Dalton Varsho is scheduled to begin a rehab assignment this weekend with Dunedin. He'll play a couple of games there, then move to Buffalo for 5 games. Club is targeting the end of an upcoming road trip in New York or beginning of the following homestand for his return. Ladies and gentlemen, the upcoming road trip against New York, we are getting closer and closer to seeing Dalton Varsho play baseball games. And this team is 12-8 without their starting center fielder. They're throwing people around center field. Miles Strawn, Nathan Lucas, all these different guys, George Springer, Addison Barger, who I want to see continue to get reps. Our starting center fielder, ladies and gentlemen, is on the way back. And of course, we are now, and just so you guys are aware here, he said he'll play Buffalo for 5 games. He's aiming for a return in literally 1 week, which is, of course, absolutely massive news. It is huge news, and is specifically big news because he is the Jays' starting center fielder, and he's someone that has been absolutely not underappreciated, but you almost kind of forget his impact when he's not playing. He's going to come back. He's going to provide some power to that lineup. He's going to provide some of the best defense you'll ever see, and we're about a week away from that. We'll keep you up to date with all the latest as it pertains to Dalton Varsho, but huge news here for the Toronto Blue Jays and Dalton Varsho. As ladies and gentlemen, this is way better than we thought. A return is imminent. And man, oh man, is it a good time to be a Jays fan. They sit second in the AL East, 1 game back of the Yankees, who are on a roll against Mickey Mouse teams. They're playing, of course, that's an exaggeration, but they're playing the Tampa Bay Rays and some other bad teams there. But let me know down below what your thoughts are, ladies and gentlemen. The Jays are rolling. We'll have a video following today's afternoon game. Hopefully the Jays can keep it going. See you guys later. Cheers.